This is Daniel Parfitt tuning in from the DeSales University Center. Today, on this wonderful Sunday afternoon, we are talking about climate change. We're going to be asking some students various questions and inquiring on their personal opinions on the subject. Please follow me and let's take a journey together. I got some questions about climate change. Climate change. Climate change. Hey, climate change. Climate change.
My name's Peter Hoff.
Peter Hoff.
Christian McCormick.
Christian McCormick.
JC Greenblatt.
All right, what's your name?
Cade.
Cade?
Yeah.
I'm Matt.
Matt, I'm Dan. Miss Just Do It. So, how would you guys define climate change? What would you say that is?
I would say climate change has to do with the warming of Earth's climate.
Okay. So, kind of like the idea of global warming, stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah, basically the same thing. Environmental changes as like a whole, globally.
Okay, yeah. So, ups and downs.
The weather?
The weather.
The weather.
So, what you would hear in, the news forecast, stuff like that?
Well, I would describe it as the polar caps melting and stuff like that.
Okay, so, global warming.
Yeah.
What about, cooling, stuff like that?
Listen, man, I got no idea.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know. The weather's been pretty bad lately where it's just been really hot and then cold, so I don't know.
Well, yeah, that would be climate change, the atmospheric pressure and the temperatures going up and down. So, yeah, that would be climate change.
Just a change in the general weather patterns that are happening globally.
Okay. What do you think should be done about climate change? Do you think it's a big issue right now, or what are your thoughts?
I think when you look at all the issues, I definitely would not put it up there at the top. I would say that you can incentivize companies to do things that's good for the environment, but it's not really a huge issue, in my opinion.
Okay, so it's not on the top of the list of things to prioritize, not a big governmental issue. Do you think it's something that the government should be focusing on, or do you think it's really just a passive thing that isn't that essential for the government?
I think there's more important things for the government to be focusing on. I think obviously they should have policies that incentivize doing things that's good for the climate.
Okay, yeah, just incentivizing businesses and general
just
individuals
incentivize them
to.
do, I guess, things that are good for the environment, but
Okay, awesome.
it's not huge up.
I think sustainability initiatives are important, focusing on the long term. I don't know, I don't have concrete policies or anything in mind, but
Yeah.
it's important.
I think it's more of like a social responsibility that everyone should take their part in it.
Awesome.
Everyone could stop with pollution and stuff like that.
So, do you have any specific ideas of what we could do to turn around any potential warming or cooling?
Drive a Prius.
So, what are you doing in your daily
I drive
life?
a Prius.
You drive a Prius. Oh, great! Wow, what a man here, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't think it's a governmental duty. I think wherever you are is basically how the weather's going to be, and however you want it, you just go somewhere else.
So,
If it's too cold here, then you go somewhere else, I guess.
well, do you think climate change is something that is negatively or positively affecting the environment?
Negatively, I guess.
Negatively. Okay. So, is there anything that we might be able to do to fix that, or do you think it's just something that's part of the
Something
natural?
to deal with.
Sorry.
It's something we'll have to deal with, I guess.
It's just part of
Yeah.
the natural occurrences of the world.
Yeah. Mother Nature.
I have no idea.
Nothing.
No, we can do things, but you have to find the root causes, and then you work them from the ground up.
That makes sense. So, what do you think might be some causes of climate change? Do you think humans have a major impact on it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, pollution has incredibly increased ever since industrialization, so that's definitely us doing that more than anything else. So.
Well, scientists actually say that pollution would actually have cooling effects on the environment rather than heating effects.
Well, climate change is just a change in weather, not
So
necessarily.
you wouldn't say it's necessarily global warming? It could be any change. I would agree with that.
No, I think it's both. It's
Okay.
not just heating.
Okay.
Important.
Awesome. Do you guys, by any chance, have any idea of what the origins of the climate change movement are, by any chance?
No, I do not.
No.
No, I don't.
Could you take a guess?
Origins of the movement.
The origins, well, obviously climate change has been around for ever since the world's existed, but what do you think the overall movement that we see in common everyday life now, what do you think, when do you think that started?
I would guess maybe in the 70s, 80s. I don't really know.
Do you know like who might have started that?
I don't know the science well enough to know when.
I have no idea who
Okay,
started.
it's actually really interesting. The Nazi regime actually started climate change. Would you believe that? Yeah. Yeah. It's
Oh,
actually,
that's very interesting.
yeah. It's interesting. They actually were the first party to start making economical policies that preserved the environment and preserved wildlife. What do you think? What do you think about that?
I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, history is interesting.
You think you would agree with the Nazi regime anymore, now that you know that?
I'm reluctant to agree with them on anything, but
That's probably a good thing.
I do not support the ideals of the Nazi regime.
I couldn't tell you. I really don't know. I really couldn't tell you.
Would you be surprised to hear that it was actually the Nazi movement that started climate change?
Ooh, I wouldn't be surprised.
What are your thoughts on that? Like,
That's something.
surprising, surprising.
Really surprised. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's interesting. You know AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
No idea.
You don't. Okay, she actually recently proposed in 2018 that her debating anti-global warming parties was like fighting the Nazis in World War II.
Wow.
Which is it's funny because the fact that the Nazis started the climate change movement is actually more relative to her ideas than anyone else.
Ooh,
What are your thoughts on that?
That's that's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Interesting.
I don't even know what that means.
Like in news today, you see the climate change movement being a big part of debates and people wanting to make changes there. Do you have any idea where that movement started?
No idea.
No, I don't.
Do you know the name Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
No.
Well, she's known for her promotion of socialism in the United States. She's currently in the Supreme Court, and she recently in 2018 compared speaking with anti-climate change parties to fighting the Nazis in World War II. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that has any basis.
No basis.
No.
I'd probably agree with that. So. You said you didn't have any idea what the origin of the climate change movement might have been.
No.
It was actually the climate change movement actually originated with the Nazi regime. Would you believe that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? The Nazi regime actually was one of, if not the first party to put in place laws that protected the environment and endangered species.
I didn't know that either.
Pretty interesting, right?
What's your name?
All right. Well, it was great talking to you guys. Thank you very much.
Nice talking to you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good one.
Thank you too. Well, thank you. Thank you for your time.
All right.
Have a good one. All right. Well, thank you for your time. Sorry.
you.
Sorry for putting you through that
Okay.
horrible experience. What's your name again?
Samantha.
Samantha. Thank you, Samantha. Let's have an applause for Samantha. And with the conclusion of our interviews today, I found that few students on the DeSales campus have much of an opinion on what should be done about climate change. Few students understand whether or not the government should have a role in climate change. They don't understand or recognize the name Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her desires to make America a socialist country. They don't, and were very surprised about the fact that the Nazis were the originators of the climate change movement. I've come to the conclusion that DeSales University does not teach its students. And with a happy conclusion to today's interviews, this is Daniel Parfitt signing out at the DeSales University Center. Amen, and God bless America.